Welcome to Grover's Garage. I'm Braden. The first video we're putting on this channel. We're going to be rebuilding my 1993 CR125. This is the first big project. Got bike sitting behind me, and we're just going to start ripping and tearing. Here we have my workbench. Got Motorsport Products engine stand. Just bought that off Rocky Mountain ATV. It's a pretty sweet unit. Pivot and rotate the engine all the way around. Got some parts I already got. Stealthy off-road flywheel weight. Some better foot pegs, and then just some bling parts. Got a little puller there. I've had this bike for almost 5 years. Bought it when I was 14 years old. It's the whole reason why I am a mechanic now. It's got some really good parts, like original 1996 Pro Circuit pipe on it. It's got full Race Tech springs in it. It's got a Pro Circuit factory sound silencer. Race Tech springs. I put a Vertex top end into it a year or two ago. Rebuilt the forks. Got a brand new clutch. A couple season old clutch, but it's pretty beat. I've crashed it, ridden it harder, crashed it. It still runs. Doesn't run great. Doesn't run very fast. I took it out once this year, and it had some major. It didn't run good. It sounded like it had some major problems. It started okay again. It ran okay again. I'm kind of curious if it'll even start now, but it's beat. It's been through a lot. It was an old race bike, I'm gonna guess, and there was last time the cases were split was 2001. So over 20 years ago was the last time this engine was out of this bike. I bought it, it was sitting in a shed. I've had it for, like I said, 5 years, almost 5 years. And it's never been solid. Lots of sketchy stuff on it, a little bit of sketchy wiring here and there from what I've seen. But let's see if it'll start here for us. I have my doubts that it's gonna start. And if it does start, it's gonna start like shit. Choke doesn't stay up, so we're probably gonna look into that. Not gonna start for us. She's rough. I crashed it pretty hard about 2 seasons ago. Bent the front fender. It's our big, nice white crease line. Put that dent in the pipe, which is a shame because I blew all the dents out. Had a guy do it. It looked really good, and then smacked a tree. I'm gonna talk to one of my coworkers who's a welder, see if he'll cut the pipe apart, knock out all the dents, put it back together. And the skid plate on this bike is welded to the frame. Don't ask me who did it, not the way I'd do it. So when the frame is stripped, we're probably gonna be talking to him too about building us a proper skid plate and cutting that old one off. But yeah, we're gonna get going here, I think. It's gonna be a little scary. I've never torn a bike that far apart, but I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna be able to. This bike means a lot to me. Pretty emotional, pretty sentimental. But I have a vision for it in mind, and we're gonna spend tremendous amounts of money on a bike that really, really doesn't need it. So while the oil's draining, I figure I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a 19-year-old heavy-duty mechanic apprentice. I've been working at the shop for about 6 months, and already I'm doing some pretty big projects. I've done head gasket jobs, or did a head gasket job on a 3306 Caterpillar engine. I've pulled an engine out of a skid steer. Just finishing putting back together my current project, a 963D crawler loader. Landfill machine, pretty gross and nasty. Had to pull pumps out of that, and all the track frames are off, stripped right down just about to the frame, other than the final drives and the engine. Love the career, and this whole bike is the reason that I'm a mechanic. I fell in love with wrenching. I always liked working on things as a kid. Like loved building Lego, loved anything with my hands really. And when I bought this bike, I knew it was going to be quite the project because it was rough. It was really rough when I bought it. It was rougher than now, if you could believe that. The clutch was kind of shit. Everything was just off. You know, it was just beat, worn out. There was multiple bearings. Linkage bearings were gone. Steering stem bearings were gone. So I did quite a bit of work to it, but only the stuff I could afford. I was pretty tight for money, and I always felt bad because I could never finish the bike. It's done now, or I have the money now. So I figure I may as well invest into it and enter it in Broke to Built at the same time. I've always followed Broke to Built. I thought it's a really cool opportunity for a lot of younger guys, hopefully like me, and guys that don't have big YouTube channels to build bikes. And I've always wanted to finish this bike and get it exactly the way I want it. So that's the plan for it. We got parts. We got some parts already. We're gonna be ordering more parts here soon. Get a decal kit for it and some brand new plastics. Figure out how to make the tank white. And yeah, we're gonna fully rebuild this thing. It's gonna be my biggest project I've ever done. But I'm not saying no, and I'm excited to do it. It's nerve-wracking, but hey, can't learn without making mistakes. Now, I just drained the oil out of it, and it's a little milky looking. Now, being that this is a two-stroke, I would say it could be a water pump gear failure or something, or a water pump drive, like the shaft that drives your water pump, the seal on that, like I said, that could be a little failure. But we'll check the coolant right now here quick. See what the level's looking like on that. Now, it's there. It's up top. It's not as high as it was. These are also new radiators. I put these on a couple years ago because I crashed and broke a radiator, naturally. So that coolant was topped up. And when I rebuilt this engine the first time, did the top end on it, I put a full thing of coolant into it. So it's lost a little bit of coolant, and I topped it up after my ride this year. Not sure what's going on with it, but we'll get it figured out. Okay, so we're back. We got all the body panels off the bike. It's stripped down. It's filthy. I really didn't do a good job of washing it after my last ride. It's kind of gross, but I mean, I'll take working on this over working on machines covered in hydraulic oil like I do just about every day. But I'm gonna now pull the subframe off, the exhaust off, drain the coolant out, and basically just get ready to pull the engine out. We'll throw it up on the bench, and that might be it for today. So now that we got the subframe and exhaust all off, you can see the Race Tech spring I threw in. Bike's a little soft for me. I'm a pretty tall guy, so I resprung the whole thing. So it was a little stiffer. You can see my radiators I put on. I already got a little bit of crushed fins, so I'm debating sending them out to the shop just to get them all straightened out, but things just filthy. It's kind of beat. Carb looks not too bad. We'll open that up. Not too bad. It's pretty clean in there. Air filter wasn't too bad either. But over here you can see my favorite part of the bike, the old Pro Circuit exhaust. Hitting that tree felt so bad. Big dent, and it split it. You can see that crack there. It bent the whole thing up. So hopefully I can get her straightened out and knocked out. Otherwise we might be looking at getting a cone pipe for it. This silencer we're gonna repack and get a new decal for. Clean it all up, get all the dirt off of it and polish her all up nice and pretty again. And we'll be draining the coolant out of it now, getting the radiators off. Hopefully knock that swing arm bolt out. Maybe we'll pull the rear tire off just for some extra wiggle room. Probably not though. And then we'll be pulling that engine out. So we've got the CR125 torn pretty much down to the frame. I think I got to pull 2 or 3 lines off, disconnect the chain, and knock the swing arm bolt out. And that engine's coming out. I'm going to show you here real quick something that's always annoyed me about this bike. So wobbly. I don't know if you can tell or not, but that Kickstarter is so loose. That's going to be one of the first things we rebuild, because since the day I bought this bike, that has always annoyed me. Honestly debating just ordering a full new Kickstarter, because somebody decided to go and try to angle grind some notches into that for grip. Don't ask me who it was. I don't know. Like I said, this bike's got secrets. But like just the absolute amount of play in this. So much, it annoys me. We're going to be pulling this clutch cable off, the stator wire, spark plug, probably my ignition box, or my CDI and my ignition coil. Another cool little part I got, V-Force 3 reeds. I tossed those on when I put my top end in. We're going to be replacing these sprockets. They're not too bad. The front one, it's worn, but it's not awful. The rear one, it's getting to be kind of worn out, but it's not terrible either. Going to be replacing this chain, and we're going up a tooth in the back. I want to see if I can get into second gear and third gear a little bit quicker on the track. Yeah, I've never really messed with these HPP power valves before. I've heard they're pretty simple. I don't know. We're going to find out though. But we're going to be ripping and tearing this thing right out of here right away. Well guys, I'm stoked. I got the engine out. It's sitting up here right at my shoulder height, which is really nice. That's why I built this bench to be like 4 feet tall. But it's out, it's on the stand, it's ready to be torn apart. The bike is filthy and doesn't really look like a bike anymore, but that's okay. We'll probably pound the swing arm back in, call it for the day. Unless, I don't know yet. Like I said, this bike is filthy. Who knows how long this dirt's been in there? It's gross. I wish I could pull that skid plate off, but it's welded and not even good welds. They could have ground those down a lot. But we'll send that off to a welder hopefully and have them take a look at it. We're gonna still strip all the controls, the electronics and stuff off this bike. Probably get the brakes off today. We might leave it on wheels, not 100% sure yet. We'll see how we're doing for time here, but the engine is out on this awesome stand. Nice little drip tray underneath it so we can catch all the coolant that's dripping out of it. This is gonna be sweet. We have my flywheel weight, it's gonna go on that. Hopefully make it run a lot better. But we're gonna start ripping into this thing one of these days. Not sure when, but it's not gonna be today. Well, the brakes are all off. The whole thing's basically stripped down to just the suspension and the wheels now. It went really well, surprisingly. A couple little crusty parts here and there, but nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. We got a little bit of wear here and there and everywhere, but I mean, it's to be expected. The bike's almost 30 years old, and it's going to get quite the transformation for its 30th birthday. I'm beyond stoked at the progress I made today. Never taken a bike this far apart before. Tons of parts, but really not as much as I thought goes into these. Engine's here. It's ready to be torn apart. I'm super excited to start cracking on that. We're gonna be ordering new plastics and a new seat cover for it too. Getting the exhaust fixed hopefully, or buying a new one. We don't know yet. New tires, possibly rims and spokes too. We're gonna be reusing the factory hubs. Probably order new brake discs, new sprockets, reseal the forks probably just for shits and giggles. We're gonna be Cerakoting the fork tubes or getting them powder coated, one of the two. The frame powder coated, the swing arm powder coated. Gonna be recoating engine cases. This is plastic. 1997 models, I think 95 to 97, they were aluminum. We'll probably be ordering one of those if we can get our hands on it. Make the engine look all pretty. Been thinking about getting a fat head for it. Not 100% sure yet. It's gonna come down to budget for that. Gonna go through the carb, see if I can find a Boyson Super Bowl for it. I feel like that would be pretty sweet. New chain's gonna get ordered. Wrench Rabbit rebuild kit is going to come in clutch on this. Possibly tear into all the brakes. And then put this whole thing back together. Well, thanks for watching the video. First one I've posted on this channel. I'm definitely going to be posting more as I tear into components here on it. Engine will definitely be a couple videos, I think. Probably tear it down in a day, rebuild a bunch of stuff, put it all back together. Who knows? But I'm going to do a series on this. Hopefully you guys will tag along. Feel free to like and comment. Honestly, I don't care. But yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys' support and feedback on it. And we're just gonna take this one step at a time and get cracking on it.